10 years of marriage, and my wife chooses our anniversary to inform me she's abandoning our dinner reservation because her boss needs her for a conference in Hawaii on a Tuesday. Troy, you have to understand, Cara says, standing in our bedroom doorway wearing a dress I've never seen before, something flowing and tropical that screams vacation rather than business meeting. Porter says this is critical for the quarterly projections. The entire executive team will be there. I'm sitting on our bed, watching her pack a suitcase with clothes that belong in a resort brochure, not a boardroom. Since when do quarterly projections require snorkeling gear? She freezes, a bright yellow bikini halfway into her luggage. That's for the hotel pool. These conferences have networking events. Right, networking. I lean back against the headboard, studying my wife of 10 years like she's a stranger. Maybe she always was. And Porter's wife is okay with him taking business trips to paradise with his female employees? Cara's jaw tightens. Ellen understands professional obligations. Maybe you should try developing some understanding, too. The next morning, I drive her to the airport. She's wearing the tropical dress again, paired with sandals that cost more than my monthly car payment. Her luggage is a matching set. Leather, expensive, purchased specifically for this trip. I know because I found the receipt in her purse last week. Is this too much for a professional event? She had asked me 3 days ago, modeling the dress in our bathroom mirror. I had shrugged, distracted by a client's computer problem. Looks fine. Now, watching her check in at the departure gate, everything looks wrong. The outfit, the luggage, the way she keeps checking her phone and smiling at messages I'm not allowed to see. Have a great conference, I tell her at security. She kisses my cheek, distracted. I'll call you tonight. She doesn't. I spend our anniversary alone, eating leftover pizza and fixing a leaky sink that's been dripping for 3 months. The house feels hollow, filled with echoes of conversations we used to have, and laughter that stopped happening somewhere along the way. That's when I remember the shared laptop. Cara insisted we get it 2 years ago for household management. Joint calendars, shared photo storage, financial planning documents. She set up the cloud synchronization herself, showing me how everything automatically backed up across all our devices. This way we'll never lose important memories, she had said. I fire up the laptop and open her email. The password is still our wedding date. Some things never change, even when everything else does. Her inbox tells a different story than the one she's been feeding me. No conference emails, no travel itineraries from the company. Instead, I find reservation confirmations from a luxury resort, spa appointments for 2, dinner cruises booked under Porter's personal credit card. The subject lines make my stomach turn. Romantic getaway confirmation, couples massage package, sunset dinner for 2. Every single booking has Cara's personal email as the contact, not her work address. The dates match perfectly with her business trip schedule. I sit back in my desk chair, staring at the screen until the words blur together. 10 years. A decade of shared meals, joint tax returns, weekend trips to visit her mother, arguments about whose turn it is to take out the garbage, normal marriage stuff, boring marriage stuff. Apparently boring enough that she needed to find excitement elsewhere. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Hope you're enjoying your anniversary. Check the shared cloud folder labeled Hawaii Memories. Someone else knows. Someone else has been watching this unfold and decided I deserved to see the truth. I navigate to the cloud storage and find the folder. Inside are photos that make everything crystal clear. Cara and Porter at the airport, standing closer than colleagues should. Porter's hand on the small of her back as they board the plane, both of them wearing matching leis in what's obviously a hotel lobby. The timestamp shows they were taken yesterday, while I was home eating cold pizza and wondering why my wife couldn't call. I screenshot everything, the emails, the reservations, the photos. Then I do something that probably makes me a terrible person, but I'm beyond caring about moral high ground. I look up Porter's home address. Porter Keller lives in the kind of neighborhood where the mailboxes cost more than my monthly rent. His wife Elin drives a BMW that's parked in their circular driveway, which means she's home. I park across the street and walk to their front door, carrying a manila envelope filled with printed copies of everything I found. My hands shake as I ring the doorbell. Ellen Keller answers wearing yoga clothes and a confused smile. She's attractive in that polished way that comes from expensive skincare and regular salon visits. Nothing like my wife's natural beauty, but Porter apparently has varied tastes. Can I help you? Mrs. Keller, I'm Troy Venner. I think we need to talk about our spouses. Her smile falters. I'm sorry, I don't understand. I hand her the envelope. Your husband told you he was in Hawaii on a solo executive retreat, didn't he? She opens the envelope with trembling fingers. I watch her face change as she processes the photos, the hotel reservations, the spa appointments for two. "This is impossible," she whispers. "Porter said the conference was mandatory, company policy." "There is no conference. I checked the company calendar online. Nothing scheduled for this week." Aylin sinks into a chair by her front door, still clutching the photos. "How long have you known?" "I found out yesterday. Our anniversary, actually." She looks up at me with eyes that mirror my own pain. 15 years of marriage. 15 years, and he's been lying about business trips. "I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but I thought you deserved to know." She nods slowly, then stands up with newfound determination. "Thank you for bringing this to me. Porter has some explaining to do when he gets home." I drive home feeling simultaneously vindicated and hollow. The truth is out there now, spreading like ripples in a pond. Porter and Cara have no idea what's waiting for them when they return from paradise. But I'm just getting started. Cara finally calls on Thursday, 2 days into her conference. I'm in my IT shop, elbow deep in a crashed server, when her name appears on my phone screen. "Hey, baby," she says, and I can hear ocean waves in the background. "Sorry I haven't called. The meetings have been absolutely crazy." Meetings. I set down my screwdriver and walk to the back office where my employees can't hear. "Tell me about these meetings." "Oh, quarterly projections, budget planning, strategic initiatives, really boring stuff." "Sounds exhausting. I bet you haven't had any time for relaxation." "Well, there was one networking event by the pool yesterday, but mostly it's been all work." The lie rolls off her tongue so easily it makes me wonder how many others I've missed over the years. "When are you coming home?" "Sunday night. Porter thinks we might need an extra day to finalize the presentation." "Porter thinks a lot of things, apparently." There's a pause. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just miss my wife, that's all." After she hangs up, I dive deeper into our financial records. What I find makes the affair seem like a minor betrayal in comparison. Over the past 6 months, my name has been quietly removed from 3 of our joint credit cards. The customer service representative at the bank is helpful when I call. "Yes, Mr. Venner, your wife contacted us in February. She said you were having some spending issues and requested that your access be suspended pending resolution." "Spending issues?" "She mentioned concerns about impulse purchases affecting your joint financial goals. The available credit was transferred to cards bearing only her name." I hang up and check our joint checking account. The balance is lower than expected, with several large transfers to an account I don't recognize. When I call the bank about those transactions, I learn something that makes my chest tighten with rage. "Those transfers were authorized using power of attorney documentation," the representative explains. "The funds came from Mrs. Dorothy Venner's savings account." My grandmother, 83 years old, living in an assisted care facility, trusting her granddaughter-in-law to manage her finances while her mind slowly fades. I drive to the facility immediately. Grandma Dorothy is in the common room, wearing a sweater I don't recognize and looking frailer than when I visited last month. "Troy, honey," she says, her face lighting up. "I was wondering when you'd come see me." "How are they treating you here, Grandma?" Her smile fades. "Well, they moved me to a different room last week, smaller. They said there were budget concerns." "Budget concerns?" Cara explained it to me, said the nice room was too expensive, that we needed to be more careful with money. I signed some papers to help. My grandmother, who raised me after my parents passed, who taught me the value of hard work and honesty, manipulated into signing away her financial security so my wife could fund her affair. I spend an hour with Grandma, promising her that things are going to change soon. Then I drive straight to my attorney's office. Mindy Patterson has been handling legal work for my IT business for 3 years. She's sharp, no nonsense, and doesn't seem surprised when I walk into her office carrying a box of financial documents. "Let me guess," she says, gesturing to a chair across from her desk. "Marital problems?" "Among other things. I need to know about power of attorney fraud and how to reverse unauthorized financial transactions." Mindy reviews the documents I've brought, her expression growing darker with each page. "This is bad, Troy, really bad. Your wife has essentially stolen from an elderly person with diminishing capacity." "Can we get the money back?" "Absolutely. And we can file charges if you want to pursue that route." "I want to pursue every route available." She nods approvingly. "Good. Now tell me about the affair." I show her the Hawaii evidence, the fake conference documentation, the pattern of deception. Mindy takes notes, occasionally shaking her head. "Workplace affair with her direct supervisor, fraudulent expense reports, misuse of company resources," she summarizes. "This gives us significant leverage in divorce proceedings." I want more than leverage. I want them to face consequences. What kind of consequences? I think about my grandmother's confused face, about 10 years of marriage built on lies I was too trusting to see, about spending our anniversary alone while my wife played house with her boss. I want their lives to implode the way mine just did. Mindy leans back in her chair. That's going to require a more comprehensive approach. Are you prepared for this to get ugly? It's already ugly. I just want everyone else to see it. She opens her laptop and starts typing. Let's start with the power of attorney fraud. We'll file for emergency injunction to freeze any accounts with your grandmother's money. Then we'll contact the company's HR department about the expense fraud and workplace relationship. What about the Hawaii trip? Oh, that's the easy part. Porter's company has strict policies about personal relationships and expense account misuse. Once HR sees the evidence, they'll have no choice but to terminate both of them. For the first time in 3 days, I smile. How long will this take? If we move fast, they could be unemployed by the time they get back from paradise. I leave Mindy's office with a plan and a timeline. Cara and Porter think they're living in a consequence-free fantasy. They're about to discover that every action creates an equal and opposite reaction. And I'm going to be the reaction they never saw coming. Friday evening finds me at Murphy's boxing gym, working out my frustrations on a heavy bag that's probably older than my marriage. The gym is a throwback to a different era. Exposed brick walls, worn wooden floors, the smell of sweat and determination hanging in the air like incense. Derek Murphy, the owner, watches me from across the room. He's 60-something, built like a fire hydrant, with hands that could crack walnuts and a face that's seen too many fights. He's also one of the few people who knew me before Cara, back when I was young and stupid and thought I could take on the world. You're hitting that bag like it owes you money, he says, walking over with a towel. I stop punching and lean against the bag, breathing hard. Maybe it does. Want to talk about it? Derek's not the talking type, which makes his offer significant. I've been coming here for 2 years, ever since my business started struggling and I needed somewhere to work off stress. He's never asked personal questions. My wife is in Hawaii with her boss. Told me it was a business conference. But it's not. No, it's not. Derek nods like this makes perfect sense. What are you going to do about it? I'm working on it. Good. Man who doesn't fight back isn't much of a man. We're interrupted by the sound of expensive shoes on the gym floor. I turn around and see Porter Keller walking toward us, wearing workout clothes that still have creases from the store and carrying a gym bag that probably costs more than most people's rent. Excuse me, he says, addressing Derek. I'm looking for Troy Venner. Derek looks at me, eyebrows raised. I nod. That's him, Derek says, stepping back but staying close enough to intervene if necessary. Porter extends his hand like we're meeting at a business conference. Porter Keller, I believe you know my employee, Cara. I don't shake his hand. I know my wife, yes. His smile falters slightly. Right. Well, I wanted to talk to you about some concerning behavior that's been brought to my attention. Concerning behavior? Harassment of my family, spreading false information about business activities. I think there might be some misunderstanding about the nature of professional relationships. Derek snorts. Professional relationships. That what they're calling it now? Porter ignores him, keeping his focus on me. I understand you're upset about Cara's career advancement, but interfering with her professional development isn't helping anyone. The audacity is breathtaking. He's standing in front of me, fresh from a romantic getaway with my wife, lecturing me about professional development. You're right, I say. There has been some misunderstanding. Porter looks relieved. I'm glad we can resolve this like adults. The misunderstanding is that you thought you could humiliate me without consequences. His expression hardens. I don't think threats are appropriate. Who's threatening? I'm just clarifying the situation. Derek steps forward. You boys want to settle this in the ring? Nice and clean, with gloves and rules? Porter looks horrified. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to resolve a business matter. Business matter, I repeat. Is that what you call stealing my wife? I didn't steal anything. Cara made her own choices about her personal relationships. The words hit me like a physical blow. Not because they're cruel, but because they're true. Cara chose this. She chose him over me, chose lies over truth, chose to destroy our marriage for whatever he was offering. You're right, I say again. She did make choices. Now you get to live with the consequences of those choices. Porter takes a step back. I don't respond well to intimidation. Good thing I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm just letting you know that actions have results. You and Cara decided to blow up my life. Now I get to return the favor. If you continue harassing my family or interfering with business operations, I'll have no choice but to involve law enforcement. Derek laughs. Law enforcement? What law did he break exactly? Porter doesn't have an answer for that. He looks around the gym like he's seeing it for the first time. The worn equipment, the working-class clientele, the absence of anything that resembles his usual environment. This isn't over, he says finally. No, I agree. It's not? After Porter leaves, Derek hands me a pair of boxing gloves. Feel better now that you've seen him up close? I think about it. Porter is smaller than I expected, softer around the edges despite his expensive gym clothes. He carries himself like someone who's never been in a real fight, never had to work for anything he wanted. Actually, yes, I do feel better. Good. Now let's work on your footwork. You're going to need to be faster if you want to stay ahead of whatever's coming next. We spend the next hour sparring. Derek doesn't go easy on me, but he teaches while we fight, showing me how to use my opponent's momentum against them, how to create openings where none seem to exist. Fighting isn't about being stronger, he explains as I catch my breath between rounds. It's about being smarter, knowing when to advance, when to retreat, when to strike. And when do you strike? When your opponent is off balance, when they think they're winning, when they're not expecting it. I think about Porter's confident smile, about Cara's casual lies, about how certain they both seem that they can control the situation. They're definitely off balance, and they have no idea what's coming. Saturday morning, I wake up to 17 missed calls from Cara. When I finally call her back, she's crying. Troy, something terrible has happened. Porter's wife showed up at the hotel last night. I'm sitting in my kitchen, drinking coffee and watching the sunrise through our window. That does sound terrible. She was screaming at us in the lobby, calling us names, making accusations. Hotel security had to escort her out. Accusations about what? She thinks Porter and I are having an affair. She had all these photos and documents. I don't know where she got them, but she's completely lost her mind. The performance is impressive. Cara sounds genuinely distressed, like she's the victim in this scenario rather than the architect of it. That's awful, I say. What did you tell her? The truth. That we're here for business, that this is all a misunderstanding, but she wouldn't listen. Maybe you should come home early. If Porter's wife is causing problems, the conference probably isn't productive anymore. We can't leave early. The presentations aren't finished. Right. The presentations. There's a pause. Troy, you sound strange. Are you okay? I'm fine, just tired. I'll be home tomorrow night. We can talk then. After she hangs up, I call Mindy to check on our progress. Everything's in motion, she reports. I contacted Porter's company yesterday afternoon. Their HR director was very interested in the documentation we provided. What happens next? They're conducting an internal investigation, should be completed by Monday morning. And my grandmother's money? Emergency injunction was granted. All accounts are frozen pending investigation. Cara won't be able to access any of those funds. What about criminal charges? That's up to you. Elder financial abuse is a serious felony. The district attorney would definitely prosecute based on the evidence we have. I think about my grandmother in her smaller room, confused and betrayed by someone she trusted. File the charges. Are you sure? This will become public record. There will be media attention. I'm sure. Sunday evening, Cara comes home tanned and relaxed, wheeling her expensive luggage through our front door like she's returning from a legitimate business trip. She's wearing a sundress I've never seen and a necklace that definitely wasn't in her jewelry box when she left. How was the conference? I ask from the couch. Productive. Long, but productive. She sits down next to me and takes my hand. I missed you. The lie is so casual, so practiced, that I almost admire the skill involved. I missed you too. Tell me about the presentations. She launches into an elaborate fiction about quarterly projections and strategic planning, complete with details about meeting rooms and catered lunches. She's prepared for this conversation, ready with answers to any questions I might ask. Sounds like Porter really values your input, I say. He does. He's been mentoring me, helping me develop leadership skills. That's generous of him. He's a generous person, very committed to employee development. I nod like this makes perfect sense. I'm sure his wife appreciates how dedicated he is to work. Cara's expression flickers for just a moment. Yes, well, Elin has some personal issues she's working through. Porter tries to be understanding. Personal issues? Mental health concerns. She's been having some paranoid episodes lately. Porter's been very patient with her. The audacity is stunning. Aylin's perfectly rational response to discovering her husband's affair has been reframed as mental illness. That must be difficult for their marriage. It is. Porter's been considering separation for a while. He says he can't help someone who won't help themselves. Convenient timing. What do you mean? Nothing. Just seems like everything's working out for Porter. Cara studies my face, looking for signs of suspicion. You seem different. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. Just tired from holding down the fort while you were gone. She smiles and kisses my cheek. I'm going to take a shower and unpack. Maybe we can order dinner from that place you like? I watch her walk upstairs, pulling her phone from her purse as she goes. Probably texting Porter about how well the homecoming went, how completely oblivious her husband remains. My phone buzzes with a text from Mindy. HR meeting scheduled for 8 a.m. tomorrow. Both subjects will be terminated before noon. I text back, perfect timing. Upstairs, I can hear Cara humming in the shower, happy and relaxed after her week in paradise. She has no idea that her entire world is about to collapse. By this time tomorrow, she'll be unemployed, under criminal investigation, and facing divorce proceedings that will leave her with nothing but legal bills and public humiliation. I should feel guilty about the destruction I'm about to unleash. Instead, I feel something I haven't experienced in years: anticipation. Cara leaves for work Monday morning, wearing her favorite power suit and carrying the confidence of someone who believes she's outsmarted everyone around her. She kisses me goodbye at the front door, promises to call during lunch, and drives away in her leased BMW toward a reckoning she can't imagine. I wait exactly 1 hour, then call her office. Cara Venner's line, her assistant answers. Hi, this is Troy, Cara's husband. Is she available? I'm sorry, Mr. Venner. Ms. Venner and Mr. Keller are both in meetings this morning. Can I take a message? No message. I'll try later. The meeting is actually their termination hearing. By now, HR has reviewed the evidence of expense fraud, policy violations, and misuse of company resources. They're probably sitting across from a table of executives, trying to explain why company funds paid for romantic dinners and couples spa treatments. At 11:30, my phone rings. Cara's name on the screen. Troy, I need you to come pick me up. Her voice is flat, emotionless. The confidence from this morning has evaporated completely. Pick you up? What about your car? Company car. They took the keys. They took your keys? Just come get me, please. I'll explain everything when you get here. I drive to her office building, a gleaming tower of glass and steel that represents everything Cara thought she wanted. She's waiting on the sidewalk, holding a cardboard box and looking like she's aged 5 years in 5 hours. She gets in the passenger seat without speaking. The cardboard box contains the contents of her desk, personal photos, a coffee mug I gave her for Christmas, a small plant that's probably going to die without proper care. They fired me, she says finally. Fired you? Why? Expense account irregularities. They said I violated company policy regarding personal relationships and misuse of resources. I pull into traffic, trying to look surprised. What kind of irregularities? The Hawaii trip. Someone reported that Porter and I were there together for personal reasons rather than business. Who would report something like that? I don't know, but they had photos, receipts, detailed documentation. Someone has been watching us. Us? She realizes her mistake immediately. I mean, watching Porter, making false accusations about his professional conduct. And you got caught in the crossfire? Exactly. I'm completely innocent, but the company has a zero-tolerance policy for even the appearance of impropriety. The lies keep coming, even now. Even after being confronted with irrefutable evidence, she's still trying to maintain the fiction. What about Porter? Terminated as well. His wife has been spreading vicious rumors about our working relationship. She's destroyed both our careers with her jealousy and paranoia. We drive in silence for several minutes. Cara stares out the window, probably calculating her next move, figuring out how to spin this disaster into something survivable. There's something else, she says quietly. What? The police want to talk to me about your grandmother's finances. My hands tighten on the steering wheel. What about them? Apparently there are questions about the power of attorney documentation. They think there might have been some kind of fraud. Fraud? It's ridiculous. I was trying to help Dorothy manage her expenses more efficiently. But someone has convinced the authorities that I was stealing from her. Were you? The question hangs in the air like a challenge. Cara turns to look at me, studying my expression with new intensity. Of course not. How can you even ask that? I'm just trying to understand what's happening. What's happening is that someone is trying to destroy our lives. The Hawaii accusations, the expense account investigation, the fraud allegations, it's all connected. Someone has been planning this. She's right, of course. Someone has been planning this very carefully. Who would do something like that? I don't know, but whoever it is, they've been thorough. They have access to private information, financial records, company documentation. This isn't random. We pull into our driveway. Cara sits in the car for a moment, staring at our house like she's seeing it for the first time. Everything's falling apart, she says. Maybe it's not as bad as it seems. It's worse. The criminal investigation, the job loss, the public humiliation. Porter thinks we should consider leaving town, starting over somewhere else. Porter thinks a lot of things. She looks at me sharply. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just seems like Porter's advice hasn't been very helpful so far. He's trying to help. This isn't his fault. Whose fault is it? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. We go inside, where Cara immediately starts making phone calls. Lawyers, former colleagues, anyone who might have information about who's behind her sudden downfall. I listen from the kitchen, marveling at her ability to cast herself as the victim in every conversation. According to Cara's version of events, she's an innocent professional caught in a web of false accusations and workplace politics. She never mentions the affair, never acknowledges the lies, never admits that her actions might have consequences. But consequences are coming, whether she acknowledges them or not. Tuesday morning brings a knock on our front door that changes everything. 2 detectives, badges visible, asking if Cara Venner is available for questioning regarding elder financial abuse. I watch from the kitchen as Cara answers their questions in our living room. She's composed, cooperative, maintaining the fiction that she was helping my grandmother manage her finances more efficiently. Mrs. Venner, can you explain why $87,000 was transferred from Mrs. Dorothy Venner's account to your personal savings over a 6-month period? Detective Martinez asks. Dorothy was concerned about the cost of her care facility. She asked me to help her consolidate her accounts to reduce fees and maximize her investment returns. And where is that money now? Cara hesitates. I used it to secure better accommodations for her. The transfers were temporary, meant to facilitate the transition to a more appropriate facility. What facility? Another hesitation. We were still evaluating options when these accusations arose. Detective Rodriguez makes notes while his partner continues the questioning. Mrs. Venner, are you aware that elder financial abuse is a felony in this state? I'm aware of the law. I'm also aware that I've done nothing wrong. After the detectives leave, Cara calls her attorney. I can hear her side of the conversation from the next room, urgent, desperate, looking for ways to explain away the unexplainable. They froze all the accounts, she tells me when she hangs up. I can't access any of the money to hire proper legal representation. What about your savings? Most of my liquid assets were in the accounts they froze. I have maybe $3,000 available. What about Porter? Can he help? Her expression darkens. Porter has his own problems. Aylin filed for divorce yesterday, and she's demanding half of everything. His assets are tied up in litigation. The dominoes are falling exactly as planned. Porter and Cara, who thought they could manipulate everyone around them, are discovering what it feels like to be powerless. Wednesday brings more bad news. The local newspaper runs a story about the elder abuse investigation, complete with Cara's photo and details about the charges she's facing. By Thursday, the story has been picked up by regional media. Prominent executive charged in elder abuse scheme, reads the headline in the city paper. Cara reads the article over coffee, her face growing paler with each paragraph. They make it sound like I'm some kind of criminal mastermind, she says. Aren't you? The words slip out before I can stop them. Cara looks up sharply. What did you say? I said, aren't you worried about how this looks? That's not what you said. We stare at each other across the kitchen table. For the first time since this started, I see recognition in her eyes. Not the full truth, but the beginning of understanding. You know something, she says quietly. I know lots of things. About what's happening to us. You know who's behind this. I take a sip of coffee, buying time to consider my response. Who do you think is behind it? I think someone very close to us has been planning this for a long time. Someone with access to our personal information, our financial records, our private communications. That's a serious accusation. It's a serious situation. She's right. It is serious. More serious than she realizes. Cara, can I ask you something? What? Did you ever love me? The question catches her off guard. What kind of question is that? A simple one. In 10 years of marriage, did you ever actually love me, or was I just convenient? Troy, This isn't the time for relationship discussions. I think it's exactly the time. Our marriage is ending. Your career is over. You're facing criminal charges. If we're ever going to be honest with each other, it should probably be now. She sets down her coffee cup and looks directly at me. Yes, I loved you. In the beginning. What changed? You stopped growing. You stopped trying. You became comfortable with mediocrity. And Porter doesn't accept mediocrity? Porter understands ambition. He understands that sometimes you have to take risks to get what you want. Like stealing from elderly people? I didn't steal anything. I was trying to secure Dorothy's future. By moving her to a cheaper facility and keeping the difference? By making sure her money lasted as long as possible. In your bank account. Temporarily. The lies are smaller now, less elaborate. She's running out of energy to maintain the elaborate fiction she's constructed. What about Hawaii? Was that also temporary? Hawaii was a mistake, a moment of weakness. A week-long moment. Yes. Finally, a partial admission. Not the full truth, but closer than she's come before. Do you regret it? I regret getting caught. The honesty is startling. No fake tears, no protestations of innocence, just the simple truth that she regrets the consequences, not the actions. So what happens now? I ask. Now I fight. I hire the best attorney I can afford, and I fight these charges. And us? There is no us, Troy. There hasn't been for a long time. She's right about that. Our marriage ended the moment she decided that her happiness mattered more than our vows, our shared history, our mutual obligations. But she's wrong about one thing. The fight isn't just beginning, it's almost over, and she's already lost. Friday evening, Porter calls our house for the first time since Hawaii. Cara takes the call in our bedroom, but I can hear her side of the conversation through the thin walls. We need to meet, she tells him. Figure out our next move. I follow her when she leaves, staying far enough back to avoid detection. She drives to a coffee shop downtown, the kind of anonymous place where people go to have conversations they don't want overheard. Porter is already there when she arrives, sitting in a corner booth and looking like he hasn't slept in days. His expensive clothes are wrinkled, his usual confidence replaced by nervous energy. I park across the street and watch through the window as they talk. Their body language tells the story, leaning across the table, urgent gestures, the desperate planning of people who know they're trapped. After 30 minutes, they leave separately. Cara drives home while Porter heads in the opposite direction, toward the expensive side of town where his empty house waits. How was your meeting? I ask when Cara walks through our front door. She freezes. What meeting? The one you just came from. With Porter? I went to get coffee. Right, coffee. How is Porter handling his divorce? I wouldn't know. I haven't spoken to Porter since we were fired. The lie is automatic, reflexive. Even now, caught in an obvious deception, she defaults to fiction. Cara, we need to talk. About what? About the truth. About what really happened in Hawaii, what you did to my grandmother, and what you're planning to do next. She sits down on the couch, finally understanding that the game is over. What do you want to know? Everything. And for the first time in months, maybe years, she tells me the truth. The affair started 6 months ago, not in Hawaii. Porter had been pursuing her for over a year, promising career advancement and financial security. The Hawaii trip was supposed to be their romantic getaway, a chance to plan their future together. He said he was going to leave Elin, she explains. We were going to wait until his divorce was final, then announce our relationship publicly. And my grandmother's money. That was Porter's idea. He said we needed capital to start over, that Dorothy wouldn't miss the money anyway. So you stole from an elderly woman to fund your affair. We borrowed from her. We were going to pay it back once Porter's divorce settlement came through. Borrowed, without her knowledge or consent. She has dementia, Troy. She doesn't understand financial planning anymore. The casual cruelty of it takes my breath away. My grandmother, who raised me, who taught me right from wrong, reduced to a convenient source of funding for my wife's betrayal. And now? Now Porter says we need to be patient. Let the legal issues resolve themselves, then figure out our next steps. Porter's not going to leave his wife? Yes, he is. Once the divorce is final, there is no divorce. I talked to Elin yesterday. She's not divorcing Porter. Cara stares at me. That's impossible. Porter said. Porter lied. Just like you've been lying. Ellen confronted him about the affair. He begged for forgiveness, and she decided to give him another chance. The color drains from Cara's face. You talked to Elin? We've been talking for a week. Comparing notes, sharing information, planning strategy. Strategy for what? for making sure both of you face consequences for what you've done. Understanding dawns slowly. You! It was you! The photos, the evidence, the investigation? Partially me, mostly you. I just made sure the right people saw what you were already doing. She stands up, pacing across our living room like a caged animal. You destroyed my career, my reputation, my entire life. No, Cara. You destroyed your life. I just documented the process. You had no right. I had every right. You're my wife. You stole from my grandmother. You humiliated me in front of our entire community. What did you think was going to happen? I thought you were too weak to fight back. The admission hangs between us like a confession. She thought I was weak, passive, someone who would accept betrayal without resistance. You were wrong. Yes, she says quietly. I was wrong about a lot of things. We stand there in our living room, surrounded by 10 years of shared history. Wedding photos, vacation souvenirs, the accumulated debris of a marriage that died long before either of us acknowledged it. What happens now? She asks. Now you face the consequences. The criminal charges, the civil lawsuit, the divorce proceedings, all of it. And you? I start over, without you. She nods, finally accepting the reality of her situation. I'll pack my things. You can stay until you find somewhere else. I'm not cruel. No, she agrees. You're not cruel, but you're not weak either. After she goes upstairs to pack, I sit alone in our living room, thinking about the man I was a week ago and the man I've become. The old Troy would have confronted Cara directly, demanded explanations, probably accepted whatever story she offered. The new Troy documented everything, planned carefully, and executed a strategy that left no room for denial or escape. I'm not sure I like this new version of myself, but I respect him, and respect, it turns out, is more important than likability. Saturday morning, Cara loads her belongings into a rental car. She's moving in with her sister temporarily until she can figure out her next move. I'm sorry, she says before she leaves. For all of it. I know you are. Do you forgive me? I think about the question seriously. Forgiveness implies a willingness to move past the hurt, to rebuild trust, to start fresh. I understand you, I tell her. That's not the same thing as forgiving you. She drives away without looking back, leaving me alone in a house that finally feels like home again. My phone rings an hour later. It's Elin. It's finished, she says. Porter confessed everything. The affair, the expense fraud, the planning to leave me. He's agreed to a divorce settlement that leaves him with almost nothing. And Cara? Facing trial in 3 months. Her attorney thinks she'll probably get 2 years, suspended sentence if she makes full restitution. She can't make full restitution. She doesn't have the money. Then she'll serve the time. We hang up, and I realize that the revenge is complete. Porter has lost his job, his marriage, and his financial security. Cara is facing criminal charges and public disgrace. Both of them have learned that actions have consequences, even for people who think they're too smart to get caught. I should feel satisfied. Instead, I feel empty. 10 years of marriage reduced to legal proceedings and criminal charges. A relationship that began with love and hope, ending in betrayal and retribution. Maybe that's the real consequence of betrayal. Not just the pain it causes, but the person it forces you to become in response. I'm not the same man who drove his wife to the airport a week ago. I'm harder, more calculating, less trusting. Whether that's an improvement or a loss remains to be seen. But I'm free. For the first time in years, I'm completely free to choose my own path forward. And that freedom, earned through pain and paid for, with the destruction of everything I once held dear, is worth more than any revenge. The story ends here, in this moment of quiet resolution. No dramatic confrontations, no last-minute revelations, no neat conclusions that tie up every loose thread. Just a man sitting alone in his house, finally understanding who he really is and what he's capable of when pushed too far. Some stories end with redemption, others end with justice. This one ends with truth.